What's up everyone, John from ARTV. It's time for a review of the debut album by Canadian singer Shawn Mendes. It's titled Handwritten. Before we get into the review, I'd like to thank Rhapsody for sponsoring this video. They're a music streaming service that I'm sure plenty of you guys have heard of. I think it's really impressive that they've been around for so long and have managed to kind of evolve and grow as the years have gone by, and they kind of meet the needs of the modern generation, the current listener. They have two really cool plans for streaming music, and of course they have millions and millions of songs, so you're never going to run out of anything to listen to. I like it because I can share tracks like straight to Twitter. Like I'm always like tweeting like what I'm listening to and interacting with you guys on my Twitter. So if I post something there, you can stream it like right there on Twitter, like through the card service that they offer now, even if you don't have a Rhapsody account. You can listen to Rhapsody anywhere, but I mainly use it on my phone just because I'm on the go pretty often and like kind of like writing up reviews like in the notes on my phone. And I also think it's pretty cool how you can like discover new artists, new bands, that sort of thing, because it'll like ask you whatever you're digging currently, and then you can kind of like find more stuff that sounds similar to that. So check out the top link in the description down below. You could get a free 14-day trial to Rhapsody on me. Just by checking out that link, you'll get to experience a ton of music, and of course you'll help support ARTV. Shawn Mendes found success early on the app Vine, and he seems like one of those Viners that's not just going to be Vine famous forever. He actually could translate this into a long-time career. A lot of people are going to completely dismiss a musician from Vine, which I think is totally unfair, just because a lot of the stuff that's associated with it, yeah, there's a lot of crap that you have to sort through, maybe like D-Storm's Victory Dance and all those other ridiculously stupid Vine songs that get overplayed, but Shawn Mendes is something flowing from a totally different vein. I think that's the main way I could put it. Mendes is one of these talents that has a voice that reminds me of several different artists, all the way from John Mayer to Ed Sheeran to, yeah, I'm gonna say it, a fellow Canadian star, Justin Bieber. I don't think that's a bad thing because all three of those artists have very solid voices, and this guy's got a style, especially in terms of his instrumental choices, that seems to be really anything but mainstream. Look, I know this 16-year-old isn't sitting here writing all of these songs. There's a lot of chatter about love and relationships, and a lot of people are gonna say, John, he's not even old enough, he hasn't even experienced these things yet, how can he be singing about them? Well, if you're gonna bring up that argument, then you're a lot of fun at parties, aren't you? All jokes aside, I'm the kind of person that doesn't necessarily put a face to the music or like whoever's singing it, so I can just kind of enjoy it, I feel like, for what it is. And if it helps at all, I think he sounds a lot older than he actually is. Listening through this album was honestly a pretty enjoyable experience for me. You've got the likable slow burner that opens things off, Life of the Party, that becomes quite powerful as the singer really gets a chance to show off his voice here, and then the more Sheeran-esque track, Something Big, that's really hard to resist. It's got this huge, massive hook on it that just seems like, yes, it is Ed Sheeran influence, but at the same time, this kid has his own style, and he manages to pull off not only those slow, kind of more ballad-esque songs, but he can also get a little bit more fast-paced with delivery and pull it off. Some of the heartache-heavy lyrics are just a little bit cringeworthy to me, honestly, but on the other side of the spectrum, he pulls it off and sells himself quite well on the track Air, featuring the singer Astrid. The guitar is sweet and simple there, adding a gentle push to kind of help this track keep moving forward. I really do like Mendes' voice, and Astrid seems to be like a perfect fit for his style right here on Air. Mendes reminds me a lot of the singer Justin Timberlake on the standout track Strings, which features some light but interesting drum rhythms and a fast-paced vocal delivery once again during the verses. Reminds me somewhat of the track Something Big that's also on this record. The kid has a very memorable vocal approach, and I think that's something that sets him apart from his peers. In a sea full of thousands of up-and-coming talents, what sets him apart? If you do have that voice like I feel like he does, maybe he's not at his full potential yet, and I'm not totally head over heels for everything here, but the kid kind of sells that attitude well. He's kind of not quite a sweetheart, but at the same time, he's like playing the role of the good guy that's just looking for a relationship, looking for a good girl for himself. Now listen, like I said, I'm not totally in love with this record or anything, not by a long shot, but if you're into stuff that your local coffee shop maybe plays on repeat, well, there's something here that you're probably going to be able to dig into. It's solid singer-songwriter type stuff, minus the fact that he's not really a songwriter, not just yet at least. Most of the instrumentals are pretty lax, opting for more of a laid-back approach with like a light acoustic guitar that often drives these tracks, maybe an interesting drum pattern going in the background, or a nice little shimmer of a string section, or a light hit on the keys. I kind of like that simplicity in a world that kind of drives us at the fact that we gotta have an interesting beat, or we gotta have this huge massive drop or something, or there's gotta be something super exciting to make us on the edge of our seat or keep the listener tuned in. Well, Shawn Mendes kind of goes in the opposite direction here, and I gotta praise him for that. I think he draws a lot of influence from maybe the early 2000s, reminds me of singers like Howie Day, Boston, that band that I believe is now defunct, and maybe even something like the one-hit wonder Daniel Powter. Am I saying he's going to be a total flop and kind of end up like Daniel Powter? No, because I think he's really connected with his audience. He obviously has a very loyal following on Vine and other social media accounts, so I think he's going to be a presence in the media in the years to come. I don't really care for tracks like Crazy, although it does have its likable aspects. The layered vocals during the pre-chorus of this track are totally on point, but musically, this track feels kind of like a watered-down version of John Mayer, and I could probably say the same thing for several of the tracks here on this record, unfortunately. A Little Too Much is another track that's pleasant enough to listen to, I suppose, but kind of feels like it was recycled from that early 2000s time period I was just talking about. It's not necessarily a bad thing because I did dig a lot of music out of that time period, and I still listen to some of it to this day. And then Mendes has cuts that are clearly influenced by this style, and he actually pulls it off a whole lot better, including on the closer, This Is What It Takes. He seems like he's really trying to encourage his other half here on this track, saying like, keep fighting the good fight, keep pressing on. The piano here is very sharp, attention grabbing, and the crescendos kind of build up to this chorus that really just explodes. Never Be Alone is one that falls into similar lyrical territory, reminding a love that he's just around the corner and he's gonna be there for her, and while, yeah, I've heard it way too many times to count. Hey there, Delilah, what have you, but at the same time, I mean, it comes off as being likable enough. I can't say I can totally dismiss this track. So while there are your standard run-of-the-mill tracks, I think that I've got to give the gold medal on this record that easily takes the cake for me on Handwritten to Life of the Party, the lead single. It manages to be uplifting without being cheesy, which I feel like is something that's kind of hard to do, and it really just showcases how talented of a voice Shawn Mendes is. The production is quite good as well, doing a nice job of blending your traditional piano ballad with a more hip-hop drum and soaring chorus type thing. Handwritten isn't necessarily something that's packing a huge punch, and who knows exactly how long it's going to stay on repeat, maybe for myself, maybe for you, but I think it's worth checking out, so don't be that person that just writes him off because he's 16, singing about love, he came from Vine, etc, etc. Shawn Mendes' album Handwritten is a 3.5 for me. So if you've heard the album Handwritten, let me know your thoughts on it in the comment section down below. Don't forget to hit the like button while you're down there and subscribe to the channel, because friends don't let friends go unsubscribed. And friends, also check out that link to the Rhapsody 14-day free trial. Check it out. Get yourself some cool music. Stream away, my friends, and I will see you very soon right here on ARTV.